Follow Eastward Boats on a 500-mile Florida adventure. 2 anglers traveling 500 miles. From inshore to freshwater, out into the Gulf of Mexico, down to the Everglades, around the Keys, and back up the Atlantic coast. Follow the route tracked in real time by onboard GPS. Meet the captains who helped us plan, and ride along as we share the sights we saw and conditions we encountered on our 500-mile trip around the bottom half of Florida. Brought to you by Eastward Boats, Evinrude Outboards, Ray Marine Electronics, FLIR Thermal Imaging, Armstrong, Paramount Chemicals, TH Marine, Sea-Knees, Oceanic Gear, Magic Tilt Trailers, and these other fine sponsors. Accommodations by Roland and Marianne Martin's Marina, Angler House Marina, and Port of the Islands. Now that the tank was topped off, we ran under the T-Table Bridge to Bud Mary's to pick up some silverside baits and some chum blocks to head offshore and do a little yellowtail fishing. Using our Ray Marine bottom machine, we were able to find an area of the reef that had a lot of life on it in about 50 feet of water. We're always careful to drop the anchor in a sand patch so we don't damage the coral reef. If you've never fished for yellowtail before, it's really pretty easy. Just position your boat up current from a patch reef, get a couple of chum blocks, put them in a bag, and hang them off the transom. Once the chum block begins to thaw and the particles start to disperse into the water column, it won't take very long. These fish will get fired up. Use a small number 1 hook with little or no weight. Thread one of the thawed out silverside baits onto the hook and let it drift naturally back into the chum slick. It's important to let the line spool off of your reel at about the same speed that the current is running. You want your bait to look like a natural piece of chum that's drifting down current from the chum bag. This type of fishing is a lot of fun. The action is fast and furious, and it's really good if you have kids on board to keep them entertained. Here's a few of the nicer yellowtail that we caught that we invited back for dinner. Not far from where we were fishing is Alligator Light. You can't fish there because it's designated a sanctuary by the yellow buoys, but it's a great place to snorkel, so we thought we'd go there and cool off. As we got closer to the lighthouse, we saw a large shadow in the water, so we got closer to investigate. Turns out, it was the largest tiger shark that I have ever seen. I've snorkeled around this lighthouse for years, and I have never seen a shark that big, that close. That is not a little shark.
Oh.
Wow, that is a monster shark.
That guy is full grown.
Look at the size of that shark.
I think it's a tiger.
I think it's a tiger.
I think it's a big tiger. That is a big tiger shark.
A special thanks to our cameraman Ty Sullivan for getting us this exceptional underwater footage. For some reason, nobody wanted to get in the water and snorkel anymore, so we made the decision to run inshore and grab a little lunch. Just to the east of Whale Harbor Channel is a smaller channel that leads to a place called Hog Heaven. If you visit Islamorada, make sure you check it out. Alright, after a morning of fishing, we caught some yellowtail and we saw the biggest tiger shark that I have ever seen in my life over by the lighthouse. But it's lunchtime, so we pulled in here to Hog Heaven. If you come to Islamorada, this is a great place at night. It's kind of a biker bar, the place to party at night, but during the day, it's a great place to eat lunch. So make sure if you come down to Islamorada, check out Hog Heaven. The restaurant has a small marina, so you can come to it by boat. The food is excellent, with the typical Keys atmosphere. If you bring the kids, make sure they save a few of their French fries to feed the locals. Now that we did a little offshore fishing and got a bite to eat, I thought I would take the guys to a channel in the backcountry named Panhandle to see if we could catch some mangrove snapper. This is what having a GPS like this is so nice for, because you can plot where you're going to go and you can look at it and make your plans before you actually run it. So we're here now. We're going to come back out of the channel here, get in this channel, and go under the Snake Creek Bridge, and then we're going to come out and then pick up the ICW on the backside in the backcountry, and then we're going to run it down here. We've got to get on this side. That's why it's so important to have good GPS, because you can't just run wherever you want. If you want to get, we're going over here to Panhandle. Well, obviously we can't run straight. We're going to have to get down, because you have to get around this bank right here, and this is the best way to get through. And that's why having a GPS is important. So we're going to come out, get in the ICW, get through here, and that's our track from yesterday. And what we'll do is we'll run up here, and that's where we want to fish. We're going to get in this channel right here and see if we can pick up some mangroves or whatever. We'll put a chum bag out in that channel. But anyway, that's where we're headed, and we're going to use our GPS to get us there. That's the importance of having a good GPS on board. One final thing, you're going to notice that Skip and I both are wearing PFDs. These are super comfortable. Something happens, they auto-inflate, or you can pull this to inflate. We both can swim, we both dive, we both spend a lot of time on the water, but accidents happen. It takes just a few seconds to put this on. It doesn't stop you from fishing or moving about the boat, but it could save your life. So, you know, if you think it looks goofy, you know, it can, but what it can do is it can save your life in an accident. So we wear them every time we get on the boat.
Every time.
Okay, you're not supposed to give away your secret fishing spots, but I'm going to right now. That's Hog Heaven that we just left for lunch. This flat behind me, it's shaped like a piece of pie. If you look at it on the chart, that's where I caught my personal best bonefish, 10.5 pounds. This is an excellent flat for bonefish. Catch it on a high tide. As the tide's falling, they'll tail. On a low tide, they'll come off in the channel, and you can use little pieces of fresh shrimp on a hook with a little tiny split shot. But if you come here to Alamorada, you're looking for a place to catch your first bonefish, start on this pie-shaped flat just out from Hog Heaven. That's the best shot that I know of on the ocean side to get a bonefish. Just holding it. All right, so now that we're going to see where we're at, we're coming out of Snake Creek here. We're going to clear these two buoys, which is very important. If you're running the Keys, follow the buoys. If you get outside of a channel, it can go from 9 feet to 9 inches like that. So anyway, we're going to come out of here, get in the ICW. We're going to run down, clear this bank here right behind Shell Key, and then we're going to come across and go up here to Panhandle. That's where we're going to fish this afternoon. But it's so nice having electronics like that you can stroll, you can plan your trip, you can run your route, it keeps you up to date. Now that I've done scrolling, I hit this button here, returns the boat to the center. It's so easy to use. I've yet to open the owner's manual on this Ray Marine. It's so intuitive, I didn't need it. I just installed it on the boat and started using it. So easy to use. You hit the home page, there's your menu of everything that you want to do. Right now we're running on the charts. I think what actually we'll do a chart and fish finder, so that way we can see the chart on one side of our screen and we can see the bottom on the other, so we know how much water is below the boat. So easy to use. Earlier when I was talking about the importance of staying in the channel when you're running the backside of the Keys, look at our GPS. See the channel? It shows a flat. There's the flat. You can get in trouble really, really fast if you're not paying attention. All right, we're in the backcountry. This one channel, this particular channel is called Panhandle. It's a pretty long channel that cuts between two flats, and if you can get into it and stay in the center of the channel, go about midway, and then park the boat on the flat, on either side and put out a chum bag and start fishing. And you're going to catch a lot of little mangroves, but a lot of bigger mangroves here too. This is a great place to bring kids. If it's blowing hard offshore, it's always protected back here. But if they want to get in the water and snorkel here and swim, you can. It's really, really shallow on both sides, but the channel's deep, so all the fish congregate, you know, in the deep channel. Great place to bring your kids. It's a great place to kind of get out of the wind. And the fishing back here is pretty doggone good too. We anchored the boat and put out a chum bag. It didn't take long for the mangroves to show up. Now what'll happen in about 10 minutes, the bigger ones will be just out of casting distance. And if you throw, you know, 30 or 40 feet out, that's where the bigger ones are hanging. But there's some legal size right in our chum slick right now. This is the kind of stuff you catch back here. I mean, no giants, but, you know, eating size, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a great, great place to take the kids, because right now below the boat, we must have 100 of these right below the boat in our chum slick. And you can't go wrong, you can't miss. So to keep the kids, you know, excited and into fishing, you bring them back here, it's calm. You don't have to worry about the wind, there's no boat traffic. Put a chum bag over and you can spend all day out here and the kids can catch all of these they want and have a blast doing it. Just about any channel back in Florida Bay will produce mangroves just like this. If you do decide to come to Panhandle, you need to know that there's a flat right at the entrance of the channel that you have to get over to get into the channel. So when you get ready to leave, it's best to throttle up in the channel, get up on plane, and then run across the flat. With enough fish for supper, we decided to make the run back to Angler House Marina and get cleaned up. The emerald green waters of Florida Bay are absolutely beautiful, and generally the water is crystal clear. If you've never experienced fishing back here, you're missing out on something. Even if you don't fish, just the run across the bay is worth coming back here. In no time at all, we were back at Angler House Marina and docking the boat at our floating condo. The deal I made with Skip is I'd wash the boat if he cleaned the fish. Not a bad haul for a few hours of fishing. Best of all, a local restaurant's going to cook them for us for dinner. Right up the road from Angler House Marina is Lazy Days Restaurant. They have oceanfront dining, both inside and outside, and a bar. The atmosphere is upscale for the Keys, but best of all, Lazy Days will cook your catch for you. This was a great way to end a perfect day on the water. In our final segment, we make the run from the Keys back to Port St. Lucie.